What's going on? What's happening, everyone? Part of my presence YouTube channel. Yeah, I think it's time that I put this out there and talk about the virus. Apparently, YouTube doesn't want you to say what it actually is. I guess out of fear of misinformation and fear mongering. I'm not looking to do that. I'm more looking to put this into perspective as far as the numbers, as far as the outlook of all of this, also how this particular virus has affected our lives, and how we've been, I guess you could say, manipulated into doing certain things without even knowing the reason why. How a lot of us have been misled. We're getting a lot of information that is false, and where the focus is as far as this particular pandemic. So the first thing I want to do is I'm hoping everyone is well out there, that everyone is safe, everyone is taking care of their responsibilities and not flaking on their responsibilities, taking care of their families. If you were once the breadwinner and you've lost your job, hopefully you have savings to see things through. If you are American, look out for that one-time check of $1,200. If you are Canadian, look out for that $2,000 per month for the next 4 months to start. Okay, but putting that aside, I want to just go and discuss the numbers as we speak. Now, I'll be completely honest. I've been trying to do this video for a while now. Okay, and of course, because life, has come swiftly, and I had to make some adjustments and take care of real life family matters. I never saw it through. But also on top of that, I remember, I believe it was just 2 weeks ago when I tried to put a video out and I quoted the amount. I remember the amount of I can't say that. The amount of cases of this particular virus, it was around 200,000, mid 200,000. Okay, as we speak, today is the 1st of April. As we speak, it's jumped to almost 1 million. Okay, currently we're at 935,000 active cases, or sorry, not active cases, but confirmed cases of the virus. Okay, out of that many cases, there's been about 47,000 deaths. 194,000 people have officially recovered, and the rest of them are active cases, meaning people who are currently dealing with the virus and the condition. A lot of them, 95% of them actually, are only experiencing mild symptoms, mild conditions, whereas 5% of that amount is in critical condition or in serious need of medical care. Okay. So it's about 5% on that side. So all that is very important to know. Okay. The one thing that I noticed in the news is that they don't really discuss, whenever they say people, thousands of people have died, they never really discuss the age of the people who have passed away, which is odd, because if they're doing it, if they're not saying it because they're trying to, protect people's privacy, they also don't mention if there was an underlying health issue with those people who have passed away. I think it's something that would help the public gain some understanding as to what's really going on when you say those things. Okay, because without disclosing the age of the person, without disclosing whether they had other medical conditions, it really is putting a lot of fear in people, thinking that, hey, this could happen to me, this could happen to my children, this could happen to my elderly parents or grandparents. And I think when you have all types of age groups operate under fear, it really has us to the point where we will do whatever it is that the government or people of authority are telling us in order to see this through. And that may not be the best thing when you look at how, things have played out in the past, as far as when there's been pandemics, or when there's been a crisis at hand, how we've been, I guess you could say, misled into making certain judgment calls that we never would have made if we were making the decision on a sound, calm, and logical mind. So I want to give some takes as far as what I'm seeing out there and what I'm noticing. Okay, one of the things that is really hitting hard for a lot of people are people in precarious industries. Okay, a lot of people, they have to work outside. They work based on construction. They work in jobs that require a lot of manual labor, and a lot of those people are not able to work as a result of this virus, and they've been without jobs. Okay, now speaking to a couple of my friends who work is intermittent, where they might have jobs 2 days a week, but the rest of the week there's nothing there. And these aren't industries where you get paid sick leave if you have to call in sick. These are not jobs where they'll cover you at a time when there's a shortage of work scenario. These are jobs where they'll let you go, and they'll do a mass layoff, and they feel no ways because that's the norm. Okay, and I also have friends who haven't been affected by this at all. Okay, they work in industries where they could pivot and they could work at home, set up internet access, a laptop, set up a VPN, and through a remote computer they can access all the information that they need to get work done. Okay, and those people have lucked out because they're actually able to work. They might even be considered as essential services, whether it's transportation, government departments, financial departments that have to work, especially at times like this. Those people have lucked out because they will continue to receive paychecks. People at grocery stores, there's work there. In the healthcare industry, there's work. But on the flip side, who wants to work in these conditions, especially if you're in the medical field? Okay, I have a friend who's a nurse, and she's afraid to even go home because she has elderly parents, and she doesn't want to place them in a position where they could become ill as a result of who she comes into contact at work, at the hospital. So it's scary times to see what's happening out there as far as people in work industries and how it's affected people. The other thing that I'm noticing as well too is that not many people have emergency funds in place. Okay. Now, when I say emergency funds, I'm referring to situations where you are able to be without income for 6 months, and you're still able to cover all of your expenses and your necessities. Okay, I'm finding a lot of people can't do that, or haven't stored away a nest egg where they can have money on the side, where in the event they lose their job, in the event their industry turns on its head, they're able to provide for their families and still keep the train moving. But unfortunately, a lot of people are living paycheck to paycheck, and that might be because they're overconfident with the industry. The fact that we've had a market that's been good for more than 10 years, right? The last recession was in 2008, 2009. It recovered, I believe. Okay, so in that time period to now, we're in 2020. That's over 10 years or 11 years. Now, although there has been many people who have given warnings about the fact that a recession is probably going to come in 2020, a lot of people overlooked it. And I don't want to blame them. I don't want to single them out, because if you think about the timing of this, no one knew that the recession was going to be caused by a pandemic. Okay, people always thought there would be an economic downturn, maybe a war that occurred. Apple is not able to meet their sales targets, and it causes a steep decline, and a chain reaction occurs and the markets tumble. Everyone thought it would be an economic issue that would cause this drop or a recession. No one ever thought a pandemic would ever break out, which is odd because pandemics, I wouldn't say it happens all the time, but it's not uncommon. We've seen it with MERS, MERS. We've seen it with SARS. We've seen it, I guess, with Ebola as well too. So it's nothing unusual to have it, but at the same time, this is the first, and I've lived through all those and experienced all of those. This is the first where all countries have shut things down, where you're told you can't even go out and congregate, you can't go to church, you can't go to spring break on the beaches, you can't even go on playgrounds to play with your kids. Schools are shut down. There's not even a return date. It's indefinitely now. Okay, schools, whether it's elementary, high school, whether it's university or college, everything is shut down. Now they're transitioning to online learning. Okay, you have daycares who are not opening. They're closed too. So it's affecting a lot of people in ways that no one could have imagined. Okay, so when you think about this virus, you gotta ask yourself, is it a healthcare issue? Is it a medical issue? Or is this a financial issue? Is this a financial virus? Okay, and you could make the argument that this is a financial virus because all in all, it's affecting people financially more than it's affecting people health-wise. Although, almost 1 million people have contracted this virus, not too many people have passed away in relation to the amount who has contracted it. So it only makes you wonder if the fear is driving this and is causing people to overreact and shut everything down. How long is this going to last? It's a very good question. It's a very important question. How long is this going to last? And can we survive without having jobs, without having paychecks? How are we paying our bills? Because Lord knows we're still using services. There's Netflix people are using, Amazon Prime people are using, internet, the cell phone. So people are still using services, but how are they paying for things? And our corporation is going to fit the bill until everything goes back to normal. And we all know corporations have no heart, have no soul, no empathy. Anything that they give to you for free is going to cost you in the long run. So I have to wonder, with all of these suggestions of deferrals of mortgages and having deferrals on rent, who is it going to bite in the end? Is it going to be the tenants? Is it going to be the mortgage people who have to pay their mortgage, homeowners? Or is it going to be the banks? Okay, and in my honest opinion, the banks never lose. Okay, and from what I've read, they're already stating if you decide to defer mortgage payments, that interest on those missed payments are just tacked on to the end of your mortgage. Okay, and there's interest on top of the interest already. Okay, so there's almost double the interest. Okay, so that doesn't bode well for the economy. And we all know that many people are in debt. I believe there was a stat that came out where it's around 60 to 70% of people are living paycheck to paycheck. And a lot of those people are also highly leveraged in debt. And a lot of people took out loans, credit cards, their balances are high, line of credit, home equity loans, secure line, all of those things, all because people thought the economy was doing great and there's not going to be a downturn. People are making money. Tesla was once $800, maybe about a week before all this hit. So it just goes to show you, a lot of people were caught with their pants down. A lot of companies were caught with their pants down, and this has taken a toll. So I also want to bring up the fact that people who are planning on retiring soon, now they can't. Okay, whether it's the 401k or the RSPs, people are finding out that their equities have dropped 30 to 40%. Right? All that money that they thought they would have, that nest egg, whether they thought that their home would be, their retirement plan as far as selling it and then downsizing, all of those plans have been put on hold or they've disappeared forever. Okay, as far as selling your house in this climate, they shut down all open houses. They shut down all showings just based on this virus. The industry is pretty much at a standstill, waiting to find out what's going to happen next and what directions they're going to take. Okay, and as far as people who thought that they could retire with a good amount of money, they're realizing that with the amount that they've lost in such a short period of time, just a month ago, to have them lose 40% of their money, they'll never be able to make that money back. Okay, people are saying it could take years. And the way how the government is giving out money and printing money, it'll take a long time before you get that same value again. Possibly, you never know. But again, when you're young, when you're in your 20s, when you're in your 30s, you have that time to spare. You have the 10 years to say, you know what, if I lost all the money now, I have a time horizon where I can make that money back and I'm still okay. But if you're 65, or if you're one of those people that decided to work a little bit longer and was going to retire at 70 based on the fact that the economy is great, your retirement plan is pretty much ruined. And with that being said, I think it's important to state that it's best to learn from other people's mistakes instead of your own. The reason why I say that is because when you're on the outside looking in, it's a better vantage point. You're able to take notes, you're able to analyze the mistakes that other people have made, kind of take that information, apply it to your own life to avoid those pitfalls. Okay, now a lot of people say, it's important to make mistakes and to learn from your own, and mistakes build character and it also leads to the road of success. While all that may be true, you have to understand there are some mistakes that you cannot recover from, and that's definitely the case when time is on the line. Okay, and for people who are baby boomers, they don't have time. If there's anything that they lack, it's time. The time horizon is a lot smaller than someone who may be in their 20s or 30s. Okay, so it's very important that you analyze what has happened, because a lot of those baby boomers, they failed to pay the mortgages. They still have a balance on the mortgages and they stopped working. A lot of those baby boomers did not save as they should have, or saved very little to the point where what they thought was enough to live a comfortable life, due to inflation, due to a lot of issues with the market and poor management of money, they're in positions where they can't even afford a place to live, and they are now living with their children. Okay, so all those things you have to take into consideration. Okay, and it really has people reevaluating their life and determining what's really important, and whether or not what they learned in school and all those years spent learning subjects that weren't even in importance to you, whether all that was necessary, and whether education should be more streamlined to give you the information that you need for the exact career that you want to have. Okay, and also to add in there should probably be more courses in regards to things that people have to do. For example, there should be courses on taxes, how to do your taxes. There should be courses regarding to financial literacy, courses in regards to investing, because to be honest, all those things, if people are aware and have the education, it's going to lead to a better society, a more responsible society, a society that's able to pull themselves up from poverty and become, productive people in society. Okay, and it also prevents people from being caught up in situations where they lose all their money, gambling or day trading, or they end up in jail because they thought they were doing tax avoidance when they were really doing tax evasion. Now, here's what I want to dwell on right now. With this virus and how it's caused people to stay indoors or be forced to stay indoors, schools closing, the rest of the year has gone to hell. I had to cancel my son's birthday party, and a lot of other plans were canceled as well too. What's going to happen in the future? Okay, a lot of industries are going to shut down. Restaurants, they're not going to be able to withstand the shutdown. Okay, what's going to happen? What's the climate going to look like when all this is all resolved? Are we only going to have one or two places to shop for food? Is Walmart going to take over? Is Costco going to take over? Well, what's going to happen? What jobs are going to be available? What jobs are going to disappear as a result of this? Okay, what jobs are going to be considered as more secure jobs? Okay, because prior to all of this, there's already automation that was taking people's jobs. So you really have to pivot and find out, if I'm looking for security, what do I need to do? Am I in an industry where my job could be taken away and given to a computer? You have to ask yourself those things, and you kind of have to prepare yourself to say, you know what, if that is the case where a robot can do my job, I need to upgrade my skills. I need to either go back to school or find out how I can become invaluable to my company. Okay, now if they're going to replace you with robots, then you got to ask yourself, am I learning computer programming? Am I learning about AI and automation? Can I be the person who fixes those computers when they shut down? Can I be the person to program exactly what these computers need to do? Okay, so all of those things is very important. I think you're going to have to shift and find out, do I have to get into industries that are considered essential services, where even in times of economic peril, they are still needed? Okay, because those might be the best jobs to have at a time like this. Okay, another question you have to ask yourself is whether or not you could do your job away from the office. Can you do it remotely? I think that's something that you're going to have to consider now, because if you're in an industry where you have to go to a particular site and there's no other way for you to do your job other than to be at a particular place, then you have to ask yourself, is that job a situation where I can be limited as far as when and where I could do my work, and when and where they tell me I could work? So all those things are going to require some extra thought. With this downtime during this virus period, try to read up on those things. Try to stay away from Instagram and TikTok and all those foolish challenges. Listen to some audiobooks if you need to. Read books. Try to bog down and educate yourself and use your time wisely. For the people who belong to essential services, I salute you for doing all the things that you need to do for weathering the storm. The people in the medical field, doctors, nurses, those people, my hat tips off to them for the fact that they're doing this and putting their lives, on the line. So I appreciate that. You are appreciated. I just hope this doesn't last for too long. I hope my kids are able to go back to school before the year is over. I hope daycares open up again. you start to realize that the small things really do matter. You start to realize how important free healthcare is. Not having to worry about whether or not this trip to the hospital, this trip to the doctor is going to put me in this position where I can end up being bankrupt because I can't afford the bills. It kind of puts you in perspective as far as what is more important to you. Is it the money? Is it the job security? Is it the health benefits? Is it doing what I love to do? It also puts into perspective, relationships. Is my partner really the person I want to be with? Did they flake on me when times went south? Are they someone I can depend on? How did they step up during the crisis? Were they scary? Were they someone who was able to calm you down? Did they do what they were supposed to do? Or did they act like children? So all of these things is something you're going to have to think about and reconsider, because the world is going to change. And believe it or not, if they do have a vaccine for this, if you plan on traveling abroad and go on an airplane, I could see where this vaccine is going to be a mandatory thing, where you're going to have to show that card to say, I've taken my yellow fever, I've taken my malaria shots, and I've taken my COVID-19 shots now, because I don't see them letting you on an airplane unless you got the vaccine. You can't spread it to anybody else. Okay, and that's a big issue on its own, because I'd have to think at this point in time, majority of the people would rather not take a vaccine because they don't know what the long-term side effects would be. So keep a good head on your shoulders, keep an open mind, stay away from scamming others who are vulnerable. Please don't buy out hand sanitizer and put them on Amazon at an $800 markup or 800% markup. Don't be one of those people who are vultures and try to prey on vulnerable people. Please don't do that. Look out for your loved ones. Check up on your relatives. If there's elderly people that look to see if they need assistance. If they need to do a grocery run, maybe offer your services if you can. Okay. At the same time, make sure you're in good health. With me being at home, I have to make sure that I exercise, because I'll tell you this right now, although I'm saving money on gas, I'm eating a lot more. So I gotta get out there, exercise, stay active, keep a sound mind, okay? Because you're gonna need that to get through all of this. And probably the most important thing out of everything that I'm telling you here is understand that there are places around the world who have it worse. Okay, so always remember that. It's part of my presence YouTube channel. Like, comment, subscribe. Take care of yourself. Stay healthy. Till next time. Peace.